Hi there and welcome to my channel. This is Kate from the Journal Nest in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you are well, and here we go. I wanted to share with you a different side of my personality. Some of you will know me already as a junk journaler, and I am that. But before I did junk journals, I've realized that I've always been stitching, knitting, and crocheting. And so this little series is going to deep dive into some of those skills and crafts, and I hope you'll join me. So, a bit of colour to start with. We're going to come back to these stitchings, and my idea is, depending on how we're feeling, I just found my missing thread there, we will decide which one to do each week. So stitching aside, I've long been a crocheter, and I do this as my happy place. I've made so many Daisy Joy blankets. I like to crochet in cotton. I like that texture. I sew them together randomly. I don't follow a pattern, but I wanted to share the joy that comes from making things like that. My family have no more need for bags or rugs because I can't stop. So just as my fingers itch to stitch, they itch to crochet and they itch to knit. Oh, that almost rhymes. So that's a little bag that I've made in every single colour under the rainbow, and ye old granny squares can come out in any colour combination, just depending on how I feel. I have around me in the nest today, I'm going to start putting that away, but that's my inspiration. Truly, crocheting is so easy and it brings such joy, and you can freelance and never get bored. So put the big basket away and gather some things around us. So I tend to work in nests, which is really baskets, but the old idea of gathering and seeing what we feel like doing, I always have leftover bits and pieces. I think crocheting, as I probably just said, goes so well with so many other things that we do. And if I feel bored, I've got all sorts of things at different stages that I can just pick up and add to. So let's put some cotton in the right basket. And I hope you like my fluoro or neon, aren't they? Crochet hooks. Okay, so today I thought we might do a little bit of stitching first and then do some crocheting if we have time. I've got a few projects on the boil here, and let me just think what I want to do. I also follow Rachel and Sarah on Roxy's Creations, and this is my I don't know, horsewhip so far. It needs a lot of, I've used white backing and I need to do some things, but I'm an upcycler. So these are doilies. This is going to be my pin cushion. This is my needle book, and this is to hold scissors. So there's a lot of work to do there. If we feel like it, I'll come to that. These are works in progress, and this was the bag that I'm working on for last month's challenge. I think I've actually made it a bag, have a little doily on the bottom. I am wild and free with my stitching, just returning to it, but I just love the freedom, and daisies make me happy. So it's a rainy day here in Australia. So I thought we're going to start with some colour, and I'm just feeling which one I'd like to do. Last night I was just learning how to do these, don't know what they're called. I bought a stitching book, so I'll be able to tell you what they're called soon. All right, so after my visit to the sewing basket, I came home with some doilies, and the lady that served me said, I just don't know what you will do with these. And welcome to those people who are lucky enough to have been to the sewing basket. It's like an op shop, we would call it in Australia, for all things crafty. And I happened to go there the other day with my mum. It's a very special thing. It's not like a shop that you go to all the time. But I explained to the lady that what I like to do is, let's just put that up there. That makes me happy to feel it layer upon layer. I just make patches, and many of you are way more experienced than me in this. Okay, it's just coming back to stitching. But when we stitch together, it feels like the most relaxing thing in the world. So I'm beyond excited. As I said, perfect crafting over here. And I'm in my happy place. I was trying to keep some of those little things like that. It's probably too big for there. About over here. It's a nice feature piece. Okay, this is what I love about the freedom to do your own thing. See, that's a bad daisy, and I don't particularly like that. So let's use the cover up approach. Trim it down a little bit more closely. I know many of us do multiple things, and I was only just reflecting on that the other day, that just the one thread, one piece of cotton can turn into so many different creations. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go over that because I don't like that, and that daisy. All right. I've threaded up beforehand just so I don't totally embarrass myself. I'm just going to tuck that in. No, not today, because I'll be going over this. So I'm just using a little light coloured thread. I don't know the names of them, but I just buy everything from an op shop. So just, I love this feeling. A running stitch canther, I think it's called. I did some of this last night. It's just this most soothing thing. So yeah, I'm thinking that I'll do a little bit of stitching to get us started, and then I'll go to some crocheting. We may not, I forgot to show you my knitting. But we'll get to that. So, as I was saying at the beginning, I tend to, in my papers, collect neutral tones with pops of blue, but in my crocheting particularly, and now my stitching, it's colour that's coming. And I think that's because it's just the combination of joy, things that make us smile. So if this is boring for you, I understand, but I just wanted to share that all of those things were not done by me. They're all scraps, and they're not scraps, they're treasures from unfinished embroideries that I've picked up from op shops, and in particular the sewing basket. In and out. It's like crocheting and knitting. Everything involves just some sort of needle and the in and out. Sorry about that. So I will line this, but I'm just working on an old blanket, again from the op shop. Okay, as puckered and as imperfect as that is, I think that's added something. Okay, let's randomly look for something else. I've got all little sorts of scraps in here. 2 blue, it's quite cute. That's what I like about this style of work, that you can, I call it mix and match. I have another one of these that I've buried somewhere. Oh, here it is in here. I'm thinking this one because I've got some hearts. A lovely lady, lovely, lovely, lovely lady made that to show me how to do these flowers at the Green Door studio. Okay, I don't like a triangle. I do like that lace. Okay, let's put this on. Got something in my throat. I also don't pin. I know that is problematic sometimes, but in this style, so what are you up to right now? Oh, sorry, if you were getting sleepy, I might have just woken you up. So I'm thinking out loud that we might put this on, do a few rows of cantha, and then do a little bit of crocheting. I do need a couple of wraps for my journal. In and out. I'm so excited to see so many of us returning to stitching. That's the other funny thing about me. I seem to hand stitch on fabric and machine sew paper. What about you? These beautiful stitches, so much nicer and neater than mine. But that gives me joy that they're here, being part of my garden. I'm going to do a course next year with Fleur Woods and learn actually how to sew properly. But in the meantime, just love this. I'm going to call it, it's probably got a name, but I'm probably just naive. Don't know the rules. Pick up the needle, haven't got a pattern. My mum just gave me these old needles, scissors of hers, when I saw her. Okay, that was fun. All right, I threaded up some blue before. So this is my random approach, and this way I never get bored. Double stitch here. So just in and out. And the row isn't straight, but that's part of the charm. I'm learning about the different thicknesses of cotton as well, and this is variegated wool. I think it's 4-ply, and I love that this is almost like, not cheating in a way, but I just love that I can start out with dark blue, and by the time I get it through, it's into a different shade of blue. My tail is too long. See that? And I'm putting it over the pink. It's just reflecting. I find it so hard to use colour in my journals. I have spoken about that. When I make journals for friends, I try and match what they love, and so many of them love their gardens and their flowers, and I was gifted the most magnificent flowers and flower paper, and I'm using that, but it doesn't come as naturally to me as the other shades. Yet here, in fact your eye might be saying, Kate, that none of that goes, but I just feel free to go wild, which my mum loves, because she says pink in particular is a happy colour. Oops. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to go too deep because there's a backing behind it. I think we'll just finish this little tiny square above the purple daisies. Oh, sorry, I just had to check if you could see my hands. I'm new to sewing when it's being filmed, if you know what I mean. Just thinking about such lovely people here and such kind comments, that I do feel we're amongst friends with each other. And so this is another step of boldness for me due to your encouragement. And I suppose what I'm doing it is to encourage us all to share our work and talk to each other about what we're making, because we can't all be together in a group around the table, but we can be together, connected by similar interests. Okay. Nearly here. I could really do this stitch all day. In fact, it will be hard for me to stop because It just feels so lovely. Okay, I'm just going to snip that off. Oops, that's the wrong scissors. Okay, what have we done so far? We've added that little bit there, and we've added that little bit there. So flowers to make our days. Okay, I want to keep doing that and that, but I did say this is going to be about crocheting too. So imagine, I'm going to come back. I can just feel that. But I did, gosh, dropping things. Some people have said to me that they find they've never learned to crochet. So I don't know what this will end up being, but I suppose what colour would you like to see? Pink? Maybe yellow. Yeah, maybe the yellow will be brighter. So in here is a whole lot of my daisies and squares and designs in different colour combinations. Well, those two are the same. But as I said, I love just coming to the nest and picking up where I left off. So if you already crochet, I'm so glad that's something that I will unpick, because you will already know what I'm talking about. But if you don't, let's just get together and do some easy things first. And as I said, there are a multitude of uses. I'm going to use the number 4. And for the purpose of this, I'm going to leave a long tail. Sometimes when you start crocheting, the tail is one of the problems. Okay, so it's really maths, and the same as knitting and the same as sewing, in that we start with a loop and we put it over and pull through. So if I was making a wrap, I'll show you this. So this is a chain stitch, and the hardest thing to figure out is how you hold it. We're all different, so I'm not going to tell you how to do it, but in the blink of an eye, it's the fastest way to make something out of nothing. In fact, I've just got an idea. Let's go a little bit further. So relaxing. Okay, so back to my roll. I'll just tie this up first. So this is going to roll around, but if I wanted to add joy, in the blink of an eye, I have a wrap that's already halfway around it. I would put a button, lost my buttons, on the end of that, and that would secure it. Or I'm going to fill you with 1,000 ideas all of a sudden. This, I don't know what colours I've got. Pink. Okay. Here's pink. I hope you can still see. Pink cotton. I probably would use a thinner what's it called? Crochet hook. But I haven't got one with me, so this is how easy it all is. Let's make a stitch in here. It wouldn't be Kate if I didn't get everything messed up. Okay, so I've just done a stitch in there. I'll come back and finish that end off, but what we're going to do, in fact I'm going to do it the other side, so we're going to be on the right side. Okay, that's 2 little pieces of work, I mean from vintage, I don't know whether they were vintage doilies or what. We're going to go in here. This could fail because I haven't got the right crochet hook. And the purpose of this is to show you how versatile crocheting is, and we'll go with our journals and everything that we make. Okay, could very much regret trying to do this with the wrong size needle. I think we'll be all right. Okay, here we go. So let's do a few chains, and then let's go in to a stitch. Let's do 3 chains, same stitch that we were using, into the stitch with a slip. Yep. Totally freelancing here. Who would have thought? Let's go 3 again. 1, same stitch, 2, 3, and then into another loop. And through. A bit shaky because I'm being bold with you and hadn't planned it. Okay, 1. It gets easier now the cotton's 1. Oh, goodness. Let's undo that. 1, 2, 2, 3. Let's go here. I so need a different crochet hook, but we're going to persevere. And this is old cotton that's splitting. Goodness. So, but what I've done, is enhanced this with a thicker. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I don't like giving up, so we're going to give it another burl. Yeah, that's easier. I just have to get through this part of the cotton that's all splitting. 1, 2, 3, because again, I'm like a scavenger in an op shop, and anytime I see cotton of any colour, I grab it. Yep. 1, 2, 3. So if you like, I'm putting an edging on the edging. Here. So I'm sort of showing something difficult to start with, but I hope beautiful. 1, 2, 3. Oh goodness, surely I don't think you need to stay with me when I do this, but breaking out in a sweat. But I promise it gets easier. 1, 2, 3. Over here I've got some holes. Yep. So this is just like a slip stitch into the side. One, 2, 3. So why am I doing this? I'm trying to show you that just by knowing how to do a chain stitch, you can end up doing all sorts of fancy things. Okay, but that's taking too long, but you'll get the idea. Okay, so I had that idea because this is also got the scallop there, and we're going to play that down. Okay, but just a little pretty edge. I could go in and do some other stitches, but for the moment I will leave that unfinished because I'll just tuck that in there, tie this up, and I'll be reminded of it next time. Pincushion. Doilies, they slip in so easily. Okay, and that's this part here is going to be for things I carry with me, like my scissors, etc. Okay. All right, so back to that. Where's our big chain? We're going to end up wrapping it, probably not with the yellow, but let's just do one thing more of crocheting because I don't want to turn you off. So that's the chain. And now we're going to do the basis. Any of these granny squares, let me just get mine. Get that out of the way. Any granny square, whichever pattern you do, is based on the same idea, that you start somehow with a circle. Well, that's easy. You determine your number of stitches around it, and then you build on that. This particular pattern changes so that we can have the petals. Some like to stitch these down, which is easy, but when I give them to children really, and to mums who've just had babies, and this is part of the textural feel. They can learn their colours and all those sorts of things. And round the edge is just a simple treble all the way round. We work out how to make our corners, and it's as simple as that. So actually this needs one more row around the side, so I was just going to see what colour I had with me. So I finished with yellow, and I have a blue. What does blue look like under lights? Here. So again, if you're not a crocheter, this is the most wonderful thing to take up. So, because you can start anywhere, finish anywhere, make up your pattern. So I've gone away from the chain because I just want to have a little bit of fun with you. Okay, so I'm just going to put this in with a stitch. I'm going to do 3 chains, 1, 2, in fact I need only 2 because these are double crochet. Okay, so 2 chains into this gap here, and I'll go slow because I was showing someone the other day, teaching them. Round the loop, in, pull the loop out, and then go through all 3. Round, in, out, and all 3. How relaxing is that? So, and the great thing, you can watch a movie, you can have a conversation, you can be in the car, and it's very, very soothing. probably a much better way than me showing you on that pink doily, but that's okay. I'll get better and more specific. So addictive. Let's do 3 more stitches and have a look. 3. And the more you do it, see, my fingers are much more adjusted. So there we are. We've added a border row along there, and we'll go all the way around. Often I just just pick it up and start randomly. I'll finish those ends off. That's what the back looks like. So that's that one. This one, it's a groovy bag. Same idea, but more in clusters. Change the colours, slip stitch them together. Oh, there's an end I haven't finished. But really, the world is so colourful. Let's put that there. A little bit of, yeah. Okay, last thing I'm going to show you, let's recap. This is the crocheting section. How to chain stitch. And now, and then that was a double crochet, and now we're going to have a look at getting something going from scratch, so that if you want to this weekend start crocheting, you can. Sorry, I've got a different ball here that doesn't look, it's a newer one, and it doesn't look as all broken, so maybe it'll come together better. Which is the bigger needle for. Okay. Lots of people have fancy names and do magic circles and all of that. I'm not going to talk about those because you can look them up. Okay, so we're going to do 4 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put it back into the very first one and slip stitch it in there. Okay, too small to see, but it's there. You have to sometimes just trust. 1, 2 chains, and now we're going to do that stitch into the circle, and we're going to do 8 of them. For all of you who are very experienced crocheters, so I'm wondering if you can remember how you were taught. What were the basics? My grandmother taught me, I think, when I was about 7, and she said the chain, if you can work out how to do a chain, you can do anything in crochet, and I think she's right. So I've been talking rather than counting. You count the big loops on top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't sound right. 1 more. So we need to close the circle. So let's go 8, and then let's slip. Patterns always say, you know, slip into the stitch. That closes your circle. Okay, let's do 2 more, and now we're going to do another stitch into the one that we just came out of. Then we're going to do 2 between each, no, into each. There are various ways of doing it, but I'm showing you how I do the daisy. So it's a treble, so 2, into every loop. So when I talk about the maths, you can make a bigger stitch or a smaller stitch according to the loops on your needle, on your hook. Oh, yep, I'm right. Hard to talk and concentrate at the same time. We're making our way around, and that's where I think the magic is. We've already sort of created a inch wide piece of something that didn't exist before. What do you mostly crochet? I'd love to learn. So speed up. So the more you do, the better you get. Back to the beginning. And we do a slip stitch. And then we go in there, top of the chain. Anyway, that's the beginning. The beginning of something like this, or this one. So depending on, that's the other good hint, depending on, maybe you can see that, depending on how big you want your square to be or your center of your flower, you can change your needle or your cotton width. I've just had an idea. When I'm getting bored, I might end up doing stitch some of these on, as a center. Oh, wouldn't that be pretty? So that is, okay, getting carried away with her crocheting. And to finish off, I am just going to soothe my soul. And I have one more thing I wanted to do. What couldn't I stop before? Oh, I know, I won't do the crocheting. Okay. I'll have to fly, but oh yes, I wanted to look at this with you. As I said, I don't plan, many do, and it's important to do you, but I just wanted to add some daisies because I started this line here. I've got these ones over here. So going back to where we started, pink variegated thread, which will start to tie that beautiful little flower in. Kate is using this as an excuse to get over to Cantha, over to this patch here. I mean, who knows what that is? I hope next time when you see me, I have transformed that. but I've been told you don't make mistakes in this style of embroidery, you just go over them. So I will. There's something else. Yep. So just up here, battling with my wool. I again cheat by having my wool too long. That's because I don't like threading needles and I'm lazy. And mostly it's okay. It does get a bit worn, but there we are. And I want to come into this stretch here. And I want to do a daisy, a few daisies to make my day. Two petals. So I think wherever we are in the world now, we should all nearly be up, yeah, I think to the weekend. So I'm hoping you have some lovely plans. My lovely plans are I can stay home and craft, which is a real contrast to what usually happens. Been so busy. So there we are. That's one daisy, 5 petals. And see what I mean about the variegated thread? You can't plan for the colours, but they all go in together. I want to make another one. And this is the neon part of the thread that we're at. So just really enhances almost by accident. And because I like that in my creations, not so much in my life, but my little daisy here, and we'll do one more. One, two, how many petals? Always uneven, I've been told. I've seen so many people's absolutely beautiful work, way so much more special than mine, but that's why I'm just watching, absorbing and trying, because it is incredibly impressive, and that you can start without knowing very much. And again, I suppose Cantha is, the running stitch is really the equivalent of the chain in crochet, or a stitch in knitting, that if you know your basics, oh, this is going to be a challenge to get my 5 in, but I think that's, we're going to have an uneven daisy. And last petal. So I'm going to finish with that. I've taken you on a wild ride this morning, but I hope there's been something that's made you smile in it, because that's why I do this. I'm doing it anyway, and I'm just enjoying the ride. So let's pile them up, the treasure upon treasure, because for me, it's the treasure journey that we're on. layer upon layer. Back into the nest we'll go. Daisy Joy blanket. Little blue bag. Can't find my granny basket. And flowers and joy. Thank you so much for watching me. This is Kate from the General Nest saying until next time. See you.